Well, it happened again. Anat Kimchi, a 31-year-old scholar at the University of Maryland, had a paper published in the Journal of Quantitative Criminology in 2019 attempting to prove America's criminal justice system was racist against young black offenders and black drug offenders.
Ironically, Anat Kimchi was studying at the Department of Criminology and Criminal Justice here at UMD. Back in 2018, she published an investigation about racial and ethnic disparities as part of her studies.
While visiting Chicago over the weekend, Kimchi was viciously stabbed in the back and neck after she was ambushed by a homeless man who jumped out of the bushes. Following the insistence of the Pointer fact-checking group that local news stations should reduce coverage of crime and stop connecting it with, quote, black and brown communities, CWB Chicago was the only media outlet to describe the killer. A slim black male with long dreadlocks who wore a red bandana and a blue tank top. So a passionate activist who railed against the justice system discriminating against black criminal suspects was killed by a black criminal suspect. Now again, this is a horrific crime. The only person to blame is the scum murderer, and I'm not doing a cynical "I told you so." I want this to stop happening because it keeps happening to young women over and over again. The tragedy of Anat Kimchi bears the hallmarks of numerous previous examples. Why was she walking in an obscure, dangerous area of Chicago all alone?
The crime scene is in a relatively secluded area, apparently not the sort of place you'd find a lot of pedestrians.
You see some people who are like yelling, people with mental issues, like having a bad time. A little surprised. I kind of avoid this area because it can get a little weird.
It's a pretty obscure route. It really leads into the freeway and the underpass. So it's not, just jumps out at you. What's direction? Where was she going? Where was she coming from? So as you can see, this area is pretty secluded. Going down this ramp, it's not a well-traveled area. It's adjacent to a homeless encampment.
Was she trying to visit the homeless camp as part of her general interest or research? Did she have any awareness of the fact that homicides in Chicago, already high, have again risen dramatically in the past year? Was her murderer a victim of the systemically racist criminal justice system? Or should he have been in prison? How did the victim's family react to the murder?
The family is suggesting anyone who would like to honor Anat's memory consider making a contribution to the Equal Justice Initiative.
The Equal Justice Initiative is a non-profit organization based in Montgomery, Alabama, that provides legal representation to prisoners who may have been wrongly convicted of crimes, poor prisoners without effective representation, and others who may have been denied a fair trial. Need I say any more? The body count of cultural relativism only seems to be rising every single year. The idea that a person's beliefs, values, and practices should be understood based on that person's own culture rather than be judged against the criteria of another. How many videos have I made about delusional leftists who carry their utopian thinking into the real world and end up in dangerous locations and situations? How many more young women who've swallowed the narrative of moral relativism, that all cultures are equal and everyone's essentially the same, are going to end up dead? How many more of these tragedies do we have to witness before people begin to grasp that the world is a dangerous place and that some places are more dangerous than others? Let's do 6 previous examples, and this is merely scratching the surface. Amanda Kijera, a liberal activist who said she was, quote, committed to preserving the dignity of black men in a world which constantly stereotypes them as violent savages. She travelled on her own to Haiti to raise awareness about violence against women. She ended up being held captive and repeatedly raped by a black man. After the incident, she said that the real blame for what happened lies with the white patriarchy, the left-wing vegan couple who wrote blogs about how evil was a make-believe concept spread by bigoted, ignorant people who just refused to understand other cultures. They went cycling in dangerous, sketchy areas throughout the world. They ended up being run off the road in Tajikistan and slaughtered by ISIS terrorists. The 2 female Scandinavian tourists who were anti-Islamophobia activists and posted on their Facebook page, quote, never judge people by their appearance. They went hiking in Morocco's remote Atlas Mountains. They ended up being beheaded by ISIS terrorists. Never judge people by their appearance. This is what their killers looked like. Ellen Krantz, a Swedish refugee activist who was a member of a Facebook page called We like diversity. Ellen got on a tram near Gothenburg, Sweden for what should have been a routine journey. She ended up being raped, killed and dumped in the woods by an Ethiopian migrant. Zada Catalan, a Swedish Green Party politician who believed in open borders. She visited the Democratic Republic of Congo as part of a UN mission. She ended up being beheaded and thrown in a shallow grave. Pippa Bacca, a performance artist who said she wanted to travel the world alone, sending a message of peace between nations. According to her sister, Bacca thought that people were too cynical about others. Bacca hitchhiked from Italy to Turkey. She ended up being raped and strangled to death. I could have gone on forever. These are just 6 examples from the past few years. Anat Kimchi's killer is still at large, and tragically, thanks to pathological altruism, moral relativism, and utopian thinking. All traits of social engineering amplified by the media, the left, and culture in general. There'll unfortunately be many more such cases in the years to come. Parents, please tell your daughters not to travel to weird, sketchy countries on their own. Not to walk in dangerous places alone. Not to walk anywhere late at night on their own. Because whatever they tell you, the world is not full of nice, friendly, tolerant people. The world is a dangerous place. It's absolutely crucial for you to help me fight the war on free speech by supporting me via Subscribe Star, link in description, and also signing up for my free newsletter at summit.news/newsletter.